So, welcome into Philadelphia Walks PTSD. My name is Sharon Cole, or Sharon, or Cole. Sorry for the lighting. We have all kinds of issues here with everything. If I open the blinds too much, it creates an issue. Sometimes I get it, perfectly right. Sometimes I don't. But anyway, so you can call me whatever you want, Sharon, or Cole, or rat, pig, horse, cow, hippo, rhino, lizard. There's a good one. That comes from yoga. So dinosaur, I forgot about that. Oh, she's a dinosaur. We are special. We're like aliens. We're like the neighbors from that TV show, and we have special capabilities, and she's still a dinosaur. I've been called everything under the sun. People have referred to me in all kinds of ways because of something that was unleashed here in January of 2011, fourth Monday of. I was made to believe I'd be murdered in my apartment. It was really, really bad. It was so bad. People should be. But anyway, it was so bad. I was shaking, trembling, convulsing would be a better word. And what can I say? If that weren't enough, the games commenced after that, and a whole bunch of people some of whom I thought were fairly good friends or knew people who sort of either wove themselves into my life or somehow we had met and connected and were doing healthy, fun things. My dream had come true of having people to do things with, like, hey, let's get brunch. Oh my God, let's go to this concert. Oh, we want to meet up at the library really quick because we want to look up this. To me, those things seem normal to a lot of people who grow up in fairly ideal-ish homes or lifestyles or what have you. For me, it was a big deal to be able to find that. I sort of grew up very independent, alone. I had people from University of Delaware, but here, the whole point being, I never really found my people, if you will. And I felt like I found some people who were my people, and I was fairly like, this is good. I finally, I'm in a place. And that all started in 2009 and 10. And in 2011, somebody came in, turned my world upside down right quick. And they found a way to do it like a coward would. All hidden, orchestrated, underhanded, so that you can't really try to find justice. And then, of course, I'm very liberal, and I wouldn't want to live with someone with it on my conscience that I would have to be responsible for someone spending time in jail or something like that. I don't want to live with that on my conscience. But I do want these people held accountable. And I figure money is the best way to do it. See how happy you can make someone? By just donating and coughing up some money. Now, I don't want other people to be hit the way I was hit. And it was a hit. Not at all. Technically, I have no idea how you find justice in this case, and I've reached out to many people who have failed to respond. And we are talking very high-level lawyers, rainmakers who make a lot of money. By the way, it's day 89 of my one video each day, 365-day campaign raising money for myself and potentially a family left behind. So there are a few of us who didn't get to reap the benefits that everybody else gets to reap because they're pigs. And I wonder who among the piggy group is very heavily involved in what happened to me. Because when I tried to call my mom, the day after, this happened in the wee hours of the morning, so I didn't try to call her. I called my sister and then finally the police. I called my sister first. But when I tried to call my mom the next day, what do I get? Doo-doo-doo, we're sorry, the phone number you're trying to reach has been disconnected. Whoa, that's the first time in the history of my mom having a landline, or technically she was living with my aunt at the time. The two of them shared a house and expenses, so my mom did pay to stay there. It wasn't like some free ride. In fact, my mom never got a free ride. A lot of other people did. They would try to have you believe otherwise and this, that, and the other. Nope. Doo-doo. So oddly enough, the phone lines were magically disconnected or severed from the back of the house. We had to go a roundabout way. I dragged my sister up here to walk dogs with me that day because I was walking dogs, which just put me out on the street like a piece of meat being tortured and cooked to death. So my sister had I guess she already had in her phone phone numbers of a couple cousins, the ones who are sons of my aunt, now deceased. My mom, aunt, and dad are now deceased. My dad was with a second wife of many years, and she's also deceased. So had to go a roundabout way to get the cell phone number to our aunt. And my mom and aunt rarely put on their cell phones. They only used them for emergency. They were older. So they had them in case of emergency. They would use it if they got stuck on the highway in their car or something like that. So anyway, magically people were available when usually they aren't available. So I will say this, we have cousins, or at least one of them. And many years ago, I tried to reach out because I was like, well, I'm of a certain age. Maybe I should extend my network. Maybe is a way to extend my network to Florida per se, or the South or whatever, in case there's a job opportunity. And oddly, someone who looks like a pillar of the community actually was very hard to connect with, very distant. And I just felt like, well, he must not think I'm good enough or whatever. So at the time, I was in a different place in my life. I'm like, well, it hurt me that I felt rejected by a relative who was close enough to at least call back and say anything. But this person, don't know what's going on. So anyway, which leads to my point of this video. It came up the other day while I was walking around. That there are too many references to people celebrating 150 years, 100 years, 50 years, all these businesses and stuff like that. Sorry, I got a little twitch there. So all these businesses, organizations, so forth and so on, celebrating 150 years, 50 years, 100 years, and they all have yellow and gold themes, or green and gold, or yellow, gold, green and yellow, what have you. And those include, and are not limited to, the Masonic Temple here in Philadelphia, celebrating 150 years of subjugating women. I'm kidding. Sharon Savings Bank, which is at 19th and South. When I had to hurry up and move from one place to another, I wound up in the apartment where I would be terrorized, which happened to be about half or 3/4 of a block south of Sharon Savings Bank, and my name is Sharon. They are celebrating, get this, 150 years in business. They started in 1883. And that seems interesting to me. Is that right? Because they started 18-something 3. It's on the banner there. When I first moved in, I thought it was a little bit, someone joked like, oh, look, there's a Sharon Bank. Isn't that funny? The Sharon Savings. It's really Sharon Savings Bank. I keep calling it Sharon's Bank because it should be my bank. My name is Sharon. I have no idea how my mom got the idea to name myself Sharon and my sister a certain name. They're slightly unusual names. They don't come up as often as Jennifer or Michelle or David or what have you. How would you feel if a bunch of morons who wore yellow and green took over your life? Do you like this color scheme? Because technically, I have good taste and I don't like those colors together. So no offense. And no apologies. Would you like it if a bunch of idiots who practice Satanism or God knows what came in and took over your life and robbed you of all those things you thought that you just finally achieved and found and worked for? Because it does take a lot to build relationships with people, especially if you are traumatized from birth and learn how to be independent and rely upon yourself because you don't want to have to be hurt again by engaging with other people, or be rejected again by reaching out even to a family member and click. We have people who actually just hang up. They'll pick up and hang up. Now, I don't know if they're running from police. I have no idea what it is. I don't know what it is. And these are people with a decent amount of money in jobs that seem like they care. I have seen so much hypocrisy in my life, it is ridiculous. It is disturbing that the truth, the veil, has been pulled back on this entire world. You want to know how people get a lot of money? Pigs. They're pigs. You want to know why people rise to the top of this, that, and the other? They're pigs. There are people claiming to be therapists, social workers, pigs, 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 pigs. I can't believe it. And I kind of knew this in the past, just as a normal female who was a little bit feminist and would march for peace in the streets or what have you. And you kind of know, well, it must take a lot of bullying or this, that, and the other to get to this level in this company or this level in this company. How do people, are there healthy people who can be good leaders in a healthy way? I have never, ever in my entire career, and I've worked a lot of jobs, I have never, ever actually seen that. I have never witnessed a good leader, ever. Never once. Now, admittedly, I wound up in certain jobs, but I've had a lot of jobs, corporations, publishing companies, this, that, and the other. I have never once ever met a healthy and good positive leader. Not once. And I do have a video on the 68 jobs that I've held. I've been paid by 68 people, 68 entities, if you will. And never once have I met a positive person and an uplifting person. Not once. That's why I'm walking dogs. So I could be on a very specific path, but I'm here to say, if you have these colors associated with your business, there's an issue here. I was in Gainesville, Florida for 2.5 years by force. Through no fault of my own, I have an entire situation constantly unfolding and forcing me here and there. So I had to go down to Florida. They've had a Masonic temple down there on Main Street in Gainesville, Florida for quite a few years. It's been it was neglected or unkempt or empty. They weren't using it. But just before I was about to move back to Philadelphia, all of a sudden, somewhere, the money magically appears and it has been restored. I would like to know why. And I want to know who's going to cough up that money and give it to me. We have a house that my mom and aunt wound up moving to. They lived in Jacksonville, Florida together for a few years. My mom had her own apartment. My aunt had a husband. Then when my aunt's husband passed away, my mom and aunt decided to shack up, I guess, together. And then because, I wonder who helped who more, to be honest. But it was recommended that they sell the house, or that my aunt sell the house that her husband really paid for in Jacksonville, Florida, and moved to Gainesville, Florida. After my stuff kicked off in 2011, suddenly everybody's recommending that they move from Jacksonville to Gainesville. And they find this house that they liked. It was within their budget and everything else. And yellow with green shutters and a green driveway. I know my mom secretly was having to be grateful and thankful just to be able to have a roof over her head, even though she worked many, many years, had to raise 2 girls on her own, did everything on her own, on her own, on her own. And she never got to have anything to show for it in the end. Because of why? Pigs. Piggy people. So if God's keeping count up there, we're on the good side, and all the pigs aren't. So the Masons, the Sharon Savings Bank, the Masonic Temple in Gainesville, any other entity that's celebrating a big gigantic thing last year or this year or whatever, 100 years, 150 years, 50 years, whatever, if you have yellow and green, yellow and green, yellow and green, yellow and gold, that's not the best color scheme. Those aren't the best colors. My colors are better.